Hey y'all, so let's talk about what happens after you create your resume. I did a video here talking about what should go on your resume, so check that out. So you submit your resume. It goes to an applicant tracking system, what we as recruiters call an ATS system. You submit that resume, we receive it, and we may or may not take a look at it. Why you say that, Kelly? Well, here's the deal. So as with any database in this whole digitized society, everything is based off of algorithms and keywords and search engine optimization, right? So your resume needs to have those keywords on there so that me as a recruiter, it's going to stand out. A lot of the applicant tracking systems now will have a notification like a little yellow button, or back in the day I used to call these ACE stars. They used to put next to candidates that come in that meet every requirement that we're looking for. So they have a bachelor's degree, they have 5 years experience, they have, I'm a technical recruiter, so I might put on there, do you have experience in C# and Java and C++? And they click yes, 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 it's going to be at the top as one of those stars that I mentioned. So I'm going to look at it because I don't have to go through and try to figure out what it is you're an expert in. So I think I mentioned this in my other video, but if not, we as recruiters take under 2 minutes to look at resumes. We are moving so fast, especially in this whole COVID-19 era. We have tons of resumes. And it was like that even before this, but now can you imagine the number of resumes we're receiving? We just don't have the time to actually look through your entire resume. We are blessed to have a job, I know that, but we are focused on getting you a job and filling the job for our hiring managers, okay? So you want to grab our attention as quickly as possible. And the first way to do that is make sure you have those keywords on there to bubble up at the top of the list. Or when we filter all the candidates that we receive, we want to filter those that meet these specific requirements. Where do you find those requirements? On the job description, where you applied. Okay, so keep that in mind. So again, the question is for this video, what happens to my resume? Once we get it, you meet the requirements. We're either going to do one of two things. We're going to call you, or we're going to send you an email. Now, what we want to know, 9 times out of 10, we go through a screening process. And these are HR questions coupled with technical questions about the position. So it can consist of, are you relocatable? Are you a U.S. citizen or green card holder? Or do you require sponsorship? How soon can you start? What's your compensation expectations? So those are some of our screening questions. Then we may get into the technical questions as it relates to the position. How many years? What projects have you worked on? Tell me what your goal is, things of that nature, okay? So all of that can be done either via email or phone, just like I mentioned earlier. A lot of times, if you've met all the criteria and you look solid, your work history, you haven't jumped around a lot, sometimes we'll send you an email to say, hey, are you available to meet with the team? Because you've met every requirement. And our databases now are really, really technically savvy that we can ask you some of those screening questions now within the applicant tracking system, so we don't have to call and get that information. So once we send you that email to get your availability, you should turn that around within 24 hours. Everybody can do that on their phone. Your phone is glued to your hip, just like mine. Everybody is looking at their phone every 30 minutes. So waiting around to respond, that's going to be another way that you miss out. Again, you got to look at the climate we're in and the role that you're submitting to. How many people do you think who else is submitting to that position? You should be on it, okay? So when we do, you can just give us a brief statement. I'm available Thursday and Friday between 12 and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got it. I'm good. As a recruiter, I like the way you're moving. I'm moving with you. We put something on the calendar and set it up. In this case, if you're meeting with the hiring manager, then your resume was there and you're going to go meet with the hiring manager. Now, it's not all about us. It's not all about the company. It's not all, it's more about you. What do you need to do? So when you get that email asking about your availability, and then they respond either with an invitation to meet with the hiring manager or another email about the hiring manager's availability, you want to respond with some questions of your own. You want to know what type of interview is it going to be. There's behavioral interviews, there's technical interviews, right? There's open-ended interviews, there's interviews that require some type of exercise. So you want to be clear so you can be better prepared for your interview. You also want to know what is the compensation range. If a recruiter tells you they don't know it, they're not telling you the truth, because every recruiter, and nobody else is going to tell you this. So all those career coaches you're getting to help you with your resumes, and those consultants and those resume writing services, you need to ask them, have they ever been a recruiter? Okay? Nobody else is going to tell you this, but they know the compensation. All right? Even if it's a broad range, even if the hiring manager has said, look, I'm looking for the best person, I can pay up to so-and-so. They know, because it helps us. As a recruiter, we need to know where we're spending our time. If we get with a candidate that says, I want $250,000, and I know for a fact that this job is only paying $175, I'm not going to waste my time and keep talking to you and keep asking you questions or having you ask me. I'm going to say, hey, unfortunately, you're out of our budget range for this role, but feel free to come back and check out our website if there's something you feel like that you're a better fit for, right? So make sure you get that comp range. So you also want to know who you'll be interviewing with. You want a name and title. That way you can go out on LinkedIn and look them up, see what they've been doing, if they've progressed throughout the company, what companies they've worked for, what you all have in common. It helps for you to familiarize yourself with the interviewer and also to create some type of connection, something that you can draw upon during that interview. Let's say they put in their volunteer section on LinkedIn that they like to run marathons. Well, you also like to run, and you aspire to run a marathon one day. That's a way to connect, right? So you want to get the name and the title. And lastly, you want to know how many people you'll be interviewing with. This way you can kind of set and be prepared, I should say, for the amount of time that you're going to spend with this company, right? So if you need to take off from another job, or if you have kids, you need to make arrangements for them, or whatever the case may be, you want to know. So let's recap what questions you should ask when it comes to going into an interview. So you want to know the compensation range, who you'll be interviewing with, name and title, how many interviews, and the type of interview. Okay? These are things you want to know. And so once you get into that interview, again, check out that other video, because I talk a lot about what should go on your resume. You're able to speak a lot more about your experience, your past, your background when you're interviewing. You should be very relaxed. You should be very confident, not cocky, but very confident, because a lot of hiring managers want to see the confidence and what value you can add to the team, to their team, because ultimately you're going to make them look good in the end. So those are some of the things you should be thinking about. I'm hoping this video was helpful. This is what happens to your resume once you submit it. I'll talk to you in the next video.